All right, ballistic gel test for you here today, but this time 300 Blackout. These are Winchester 200 grain Subsonics. They call it an open tip, if I can get this to focus. There we go, sort of. So it's kind of like a hollow point, I guess. I really want to test these. I could not find a ballistic gel test on these. And most ballistic gel tests I've seen of the subsonic ammunition, I'm talking hollow points, soft points, ballistic tips even, no expansion or very little expansion. They usually just hit and then it'll take 8 or 9 inches or more and then they'll tumble. But unless you're a real big guy, about 8 or 9 inches, if you're using it in a self-defense scenario, 8 or 9 inches, that's pretty much what's coming out the backside of the perp. So you're just getting little tiny skinny 30 caliber holes in the guy unless it tumbles immediately, which, as I said, most of the ones I've seen, they don't tumble till much later in the block, 8, 9 inches or more. And I've not seen any really ever expand that are subsonic, or they barely expand. So I was wondering about these. I just happen to have these on hand. Again, thanks to my buddy John, my other buddy John. Thanks to John at Boomstick Revenge for letting us shoot on the range today. But thanks to my other buddy John who provided this ammunition for the test today. But anyways, I have not seen a gel test on these, so maybe these will expand in ballistics gel. We'll find out. So I'll have 2 blocks lined up. These are 12-inch blocks. We'll get measurements, expanded diameter if we get expansion, retained weight, and all that at the end. I'm going to do bare blocks first. And then I'm going to do, since I'm viewing it, it's kind of like a home defense type round. If we do have any sort of expansion or anything through the bare block, then I'll try 4 layers of denim. I even have a little barrier test, depending on how they perform today. And before I show you the rifle I'm using today, there's your statistics there on the cartridge. Advertised 1,060 feet per second, 499 foot-pounds of energy. And also, I'll show you the rifle in just a second. These shoot excellent out of my rifle. I was getting about 1.5, 1 3/4 inch groups at 100 yards with these, so pretty decently accurate rounds as well. Now the rifle, or upper I should say, that I got that accuracy from, this is a Bear Creek Arsenal Bear Claw 16-inch side charger 300 Blackout. I just have a mil-spec Anderson lower on there. But if you want to check out the original review video on that upper, put a link in the description so you can go check that out. It shot those subsonics pretty good, but it shot their standard velocity 125 grain even better. Blocks are temperature controlled as always. Always bring them over in the cooler on ice, but it's like 38 degrees right now, which is perfect temperature. So these things are going to be good to go. BB calibration today coming in at 3.3 inches, which is perfect for Nox 10% ballistics gelatin. Link in the description to the Nox powder I use if you want to make your own. But we'll get set up here and get started. And I'm just going to shoot from about 5 yards back. Like I said, I'm just kind of looking at this as like a home defense type scenario. I might eventually do longer range tests, but we got to see if they even do anything up close here first. If they don't expand up close, then they're definitely not going to expand at further distances. Like I said, I'm really hoping they do, because I've yet to see a subsonic that's not like some crazy specialty round expand from 300 Blackout. And that said, you're not really getting any more velocity out of the 16-inch barrel than you are out of like a 10 or 11-inch barrel. 300 Blackout's a lot like 7.62 by 39. You can go way shorter on the barrel and you don't lose much velocity, unlike 223, 5.56. So whatever the 16-inch does velocity wise, and if I had a chrono working, which I'm working on getting another one, I would test it for you guys, but it should be subsonic still out of the 16-inch. A lot of times in the 10, 11-inch, they're like 900s I see, and then a 16 might be, you know, a little over 1,000. So they're still going to be subsonic hitting this block, but there's a very small difference in velocity between 16-inch and a 10-inch. So I just realized I forgot any sort of sight, scope, red dot, anything. So this is going to be fun, but thankfully I brought my target here. I'm aiming down here at this and hitting clear up here about 4 inches high, so hopefully I can make this happen. We should be all right. I got to aim a little bit below the table here to hit the block where I want. I did not see this until editing, but that thing curved real sharp as soon as it came out of the block. You can see where it hit the ground back there, way off to the right. Alright, let's see what happened. Although I can kind of already see what happened. That, geez, that's a real nice wound cavity. But I don't think it didn't really expand, or it didn't expand much, considering it went through 24 inches of gel. You can definitely see the spiraling. So I don't know if it's like, whoa, you know, like wobbling the tail or what, but that is really good damage considering it didn't fully expand. Again, I mean, those probably aren't even, I don't know that they're designed to expand. It just says open tip, doesn't say hollow tip, but same thing. But yeah, it looked like it tried to tumble yaw there clear at the end at about 22, 23 inches. Like I said, these are 12-inch blocks, so 24-inch overall penetration there. And yeah, I'm gonna go with they didn't expand or barely did anything. So I'll take another one. And again, that's out of a 16-inch barrel. And like I said, the velocity is not a whole lot different with that cartridge caliber between a 10-inch pistol and, you know, a 16-inch carbine or rifle there. So, but the 16-inch is definitely giving it the best chance possible of expanding, and it wouldn't have went that far if it expanded. So let me try another one. Man, that looks nasty. So we definitely got some tumbling and crap going on. Oh, there we go. That one expanded. See what I mean? If it expands, and that looks like it might just be the jacket. So you can see vastly different result. And look at this wound cavity is absolutely massive. Holy crap. That's like a 3-inch stretch there. So you can see just vastly different. That definitely expanded. I think that's just the jacket though. Yeah, look at this. Jacket separated. There's a little line. You can see it came down, hit the table. And look at that. Yeah, it dented the table right there. So the core of it just kept on going. Like I said, I don't think these are really marketed as self-defense or anything like that. You know, they're just kind of like plinking range rounds. So yeah, we got well, still over penetration because that core separated from the jacket. But you know, as far as a self-defense scenario, that's what you're going for. So we got one complete failure and one that kind of worked, but jacket separated, so you still got over penetration, although that wound cavity is much better and freaking massive. But the largest of it is clear back here. That's seriously like 3.5 inches there. Let me flip these up in the sun. So there's that. Look at that. Trying to get the right angle for you guys, and I'm having a hard time seeing my own screen in the sun. But that is just absolute massive stretch cavity there, permanent. Let me flip these around. It's hard to see because of all the crap that's collected in the bottom of these. And you see that line where it just skid and it put a big dent in the table too. I mean, these already pretty well shot up, this table, but I mean, that aligned perfect, so I'm pretty sure that's from that shot we just took. So yeah, that's just the jacket, which is why you got all this, because that core continued on. So I don't know why I've been getting a lot of comments lately, especially when stuff doesn't expand, Well, try a bone test, hit it, you know, I wonder if it'll expand then. I'm telling you guys right now, most of the gel tests I've seen where they put a, you know, like wood or bone or whatever, any sort of simulation like that, generally, at least in like pistol calibers like 9, 40, 45, generally they perform worse after hitting something hard. But for some reason, there's a lot of people out there that seem to think that'll make it expand. So I was thinking I might throw something like that up just for you guys that be asking for that. So here's a good look from the bottom. I'll flip these around before I'm gonna do what I do here, mess them all up. Yeah, look at that, the one that it expanded or what have you, just massive compared to this one, which clearly did not expand. But that's honestly still not a bad wound channel there, especially for non-expansion. You shoot something, I mean, it's like 499 foot-pounds of energy. You know, you shoot a pistol round that's got 499 of energy, you know, 40, 45, whatever, plus P, that does not expand. I don't think you're getting that big a wound cavity, especially at, you know, just a little over 1,000 feet per second. So I really think that first shot, especially because you can see the spirals real good, I think it was probably kind of like wobbling as it spiraled through, and that's why it tore it up like that. So if it does that every time, that's, you know, that's good, because that's not what I've seen in the other tests. But albeit the other tests were with that clear gel stuff, which I don't really care for. The Nox always gets tore up a little more. Personally, I like the Nox. I think it's more representative of actual flesh, considering it is kind of flesh. It's pork and gelatin instead of like synthetic stuff. Like, I've used this clear box in the past, and that stuff's like rubber. This you can shove your finger through with a decent amount of pressure. The others you cannot, like, you will break your finger, and when you cut it, the knife sticks. It's like, it's literally like rubber is the best way I can explain it, whereas this is actually flesh in a sense, because it's powdered pork gelatin. Not to mention that this is what the FBI uses still to this day. So, but anyways, in this other test I've seen with the subs not expanding, again, it's the clear ballistics, but usually it's just a little tiny skinny line until they tumble or yaw or whatever, whereas this is just tearing it up all the way through, even the one that didn't expand. And then you can see here we just got massive wound cavities, especially right here. So I think this was the expansion. You can see how that swells out, and then it gets small right here, and then it tumbled is what I think happened, and then that's when it shed its jacket there. So that's why the wound cavity is even bigger back here, because it tumbled and flipped. If it did not do that, that's the cavity you're looking at there, which honestly that's on par with like a 9mm plus P, or, you know, mid-grade 40 Smith & Wesson 45 rounds that I've seen through my own testing. Which, by the way, check out the 380, 9mm, 40 and 45 gel test playlist on the channel if you want to see that. But what I'm going to do here, I got a little barrier test planned for you guys. I'll throw that up real quick. But I can't fit it on the front, because if I push these back far enough to fit it on the front, just barely, that's got so much power it's going to knock it off in the mud here. I don't want to put it in the middle here, 12 inches back. So I'm actually going to cut the block right around here, 4 or 5 inches, and then put the barrier in, and we'll see what happens. And that front piece is going to fly off on us. But all right, so here's what I came up with, guys. Got 4 layers of denim on the front. I cut that at about 4.5 inches. You see how it's tapered, so it depends. If you come down here, it's like 3 3/4. Up here, it's probably about 4.5. 2 layers of 1/2 inch plywood. You see that one's pretty unscathed down there. This one has these 2 existing holes, so hopefully we don't hit one of those existing holes. I mean, honestly, a ribs like this. So yeah, let's do that. Our human rib bones are not very thick. I've done research on this. They're like 1/4 inch, maybe a little more. It depends on the size of the person. So we'll do 4 layers of denim, then the barrier about 4 inches in, and we'll see what happens. So again, these are flipped over and backwards from where we started. So aiming for a nice center shot here, and then we'll see what happens. Alright, good. I thought I hit one of the other holes for a second. Guess I didn't see it, but right in the middle here, exactly where I wanted it. Alright. Ooh. Skinny line. You see that? Through the denim. super skinny line there. There's our impact on the board. Skinny line, yeah, it didn't do nothing. And then it came out the back. So, oh, sorry, at the very end it did something. Skinny line, skinny line, skinny line, skinny line, and then at the very end it tumbled, flipped something about 22, 23 inches in. So, you definitely don't want that open tip getting clogged up with heavy fabric or what have you, or it's not going to do nothing. So let me take one more without any barriers, just bare block again, somewhere in the center. I'll try to come just a smidge higher, maybe slightly off to the left is the plan, I guess, and give this thing one more chance to perform differently, I should say, through bare block, since our first two were completely different results, one from the other. You notice how with the last two shots, the front block did not jump like it did with the first two shots? Massive difference there on transfer of energy because of what the bullet did. Well, I forgot to come in higher. And it's a little closer than I'd like because of that. However, nothing happening. So that's 3 different results now through the bare block. Skinny line. And there's so much going on back here. Who knows if we can... There it goes. I can see it up until about that point. Sorry about the sniffles, by the way, but you guys know how it is in the winter. So it's this top skinny line here. And then, yeah, it's kind of hard to see what's going on, but it likely tumbled clear back here 20 plus inches like the other. So that wasn't necessarily the denim affecting it, or the board for that matter, because there's one through the gel. The bare gel did the same thing. So yeah, it's a toss-up. Our first one was pretty freaking good. Like I said, I was like, wow, that's actually pretty good for not expanding. And I said it didn't expand because it went all the way through the block. Then our second shot, just massive wound cavity, shed the jacket here, and I was like, oh, see, that one expanded. But then the core continued all the way out the back. And then our third one here, through the bare block, skinny line all the way through. So that's pretty good too, considering I was just talking about clear gel, and I was just seeing skinny lines in the clear gel until they would tumble like much deeper in. And even here in my nocks, skinny line. So that first one was definitely like destabilized, but staying like the nose pointing forward. It didn't quite yaw or tumble or anything until the very end here. You can see it curved, and also the damage got a lot bigger, because you can see here with that skinny line, clearly that one's staying stabilized, and that's all you get. If you shoot somebody with that in self-defense, that ain't gonna do nothing to them. You might as well be shooting them with a 22 pistol with round nose bullets, pretty much, because you're not getting a lot more damage than that. And that's what I really wanted to see, because I hadn't seen a gel test on these yet. If we had only gotten this and that, I'd be like, yeah, that's pretty freaking good. Obviously you would hope for that every time, but even that's not bad. But this skinny line stuff, no. So for you guys using 300 Blackout as a home defense with Subsonics, you might want to rethink that, because like I said, I've watched several gel tests before doing this on other Subsonic rounds, and they don't do nothing. They don't expand because the velocity is too low. I was reading that apparently a lot of these bullets, they're actually 308 bullets. So they're designed to, I don't know if this specific one is a 308 bullets, but most of them, they're the exact same bullets they load in 308. And those are designed to expand obviously at a much higher velocity than 1,000 feet per second, and that's why at 1,000 they're not doing anything, and then you get lucky if they tumble, which usually does not happen until it's too late. So I had high hopes for this one, but doesn't seem to be a whole lot better. I mean, 2 out of the 3 were pretty good. Obviously one was way better, and then obviously one is completely unacceptable. So it's kind of a toss-up. Now obviously you're probably going to take more than one shot in a home defense scenario, but you know, what if you take 2 or 3 shots, land all 3, and all 3 do this skinny line crap? So something to think about there, guys, and for anyone using 300 Blackout Subsonic for home defense or what have you. Now there is other rounds, and I'll get to them eventually. There's so many centerfire rifle calibers I'm going to be testing, so stay tuned. It's going to take me years, but I'm also going to be doing further range tests, you know, at least 100 yards. I'd like to test, you know, centerfire rifle cartridges and ballistics gel further than 100 yards, but I can guarantee you'll be doing at least some 100-yard tests coming up. But with these subsonics, they're obviously for close range, and a lot of people use them for home defense, like I said, so that's why I really wanted to test it. But yeah, so based off of what I have seen, 300 Blackout Subsonics, you're really going to need to go with a specialty round. Even the, what was it, Hornady with the little red tip, I watched tests on those, and those are barely freaking expanding, so those don't do a lot either. Even though it seems like it's marketed to, you know, work and expand at subsonic velocities, those still don't do crap from the 2 videos I've watched either. So I'll get to them eventually at some point. But if you're using 300 Blackout Subsonics for home defense, you're definitely going to want to watch some gel tests and pick a round that works. There's a few like specialty rounds that actually expand at those velocities, but like I said, seems like all the you know, the household name Remington, Winchester, Federal, Hornady even, they're just not doing crap in ballistics gel at close range at subsonic velocities. Alright, so I was about to wrap this video up, say thanks for stopping by, see you later, but I remembered we got to pull this jacket out still. If you guys do want to get any of the products you see me using in any of my videos, even the Nox gelatin, target stand, paper targets I use, steel targets, shooting bag, earmuffs, headphones, safety glasses, and way more, links for all that in the description. Again, don't forget, if you want to check out the review on the upper, that's linked in the description as well. We'll dig this sucker out of here and get you on your way. If I don't slice my finger open, because I know these copper pedals are going to be sharp. I guess we'll get a retained weight on this too. I mean, should we really measure the expansion diameter? I guess since it's over 1 inch I will, but again, this was a one-off thing. 1 out of 3 did this, and again, this is just the freaking jacket. I'm also not going to waste my time picking all that gel out. Well, I'll pick some of it out. Alright, for those who wanted to know, I picked out what I could of the gel in about 2 or 3 minutes of what I could get with my pocket knife. There's still a few pieces in there. 57 grain copper jacket left there. Let me get the expansion, which is going to be a little over 1 inch here. Alright, and then you're looking at about 1.34 inches there. Also linked in the description, scale, micrometer caliper there, if you want to get yourself one of those. But that will finally wrap this one up. Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it, and I hope to catch you on the next one. Also, by the way, if any of y'all know of any mainstream 300 Blackout Subsonic that works well as far as expansion goes in ballistics gelatin, let me know and I'll try it out.